Jack's snack. The best teacher is one whose life is the text. Chapter 13, Integrity. Integrity, for me, is like the key in which a song is played. It is staying true to the path you have chosen from the beginning to the end, through all of the ups and downs and tricky arpeggios. To what values are you committed? If you don't have these clearly set out in your mind, then now would be a good time to write them down. I am committed, for instance, to maintaining a balanced life that includes a spiritual aspect to it. As a result, I try to maintain a regular spiritual routine. Though not always convenient, I find that making time to read, pray, and attend services is downright painful at times, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Maintaining a spiritual practice means that I have to be clear with myself about exactly who I am going to be in the world. That's a lot more effort than just sliding along and reacting to what I like and dislike. For you, integrity may look like a certain diet and exercise schedule. It may mean that you attend a 12-step program, say no when you mean no, or admit that you were wrong to your boss, your spouse, or your child. Integrity looks different to each person because each person has his or her own set of values. At the end of the day, you find yourself living your life based on a compass, not a clock, and you always strive for true north on your journey. We like to surround ourselves with people who share some of our values, such as honesty, fidelity, or hard work. Nevertheless, we may find that not everyone places a high value on helping disadvantaged kids or protecting the water quality. Decide what you stand for and stand for it. Integrity is who you are when nobody's looking. Going within, speaking from the heart. I have to tell you that when I came to write this chapter, I was tempted to write about an incident where I did something that followed through on my values, an interesting little story of some kind. The more I thought about the subject of integrity, however, the more I realized that I have an ongoing struggle to stay true to my values, and it's a struggle that I don't like to talk about. So here it is. I do not feel comfortable talking about my feelings. After almost 4 decades of being in business, 3 sons, a second marriage, and lots of acquaintances and few friendships, I have figured at least one thing out. The quality and depth of my relationships is directly related to my ability to express feelings. When I can look my millennial sons in the eyes and tell them I'm scared, I love you, and watching you make bad decisions scares me. What if you get hurt? That would break my heart. My sons are very clear on what motivates me, on how I feel about them, and on how their actions would affect me. If I say to my son, as I have done in the past, no, that's the end of the story, no, well then, I've done a good job as a parent in setting boundaries and working to keep my child safe. But I have not deepened my relationship with that adult child, as they turn 25, 27, and 29 years old in the fall of 2015. When I say to a client, I'm happy to hear from you, I thought about you the other day, your loss hit home with me and made me appreciate what I have, that client knows that I have empathy and compassion for them. They know that I am capable of thoughtfully considering them and reflecting on my own life. On the other hand, if I say, as I have often done, good to hear from you, how are you? I communicate a passing interest that may or may not be particularly thought out or personal. When I listen to a new client tell me that their first 2 businesses failed, I can say, that's tough. Or I can admit to them that I too have had to let go of enterprises that I hoped to fail forward and fail fast while learning something from the experience. The pain of having to radically redirect a dream can be devastating, yet doing it can make the next attempt successful. As you can see, talking about my feelings changes my conversation with my relationships, from casual, shallow experiences to real human connections. I coined a new word last year, nonversation. That's a noun to describe a conversation where nothing of substance is ever said. A superficial exchange of words is an understatement. You've heard them before. Marriage is that layer of integrity that is closest to my core relationship with myself. In marriage, my willingness to say, I'm afraid you will, or I feel like, can spell the difference between a happy union and an uneasy alliance. Do I even need to tell you how my ability to say, I saw you walking in the parking lot at the drugstore today and realized how beautiful you are all over again, can create an environment of romance and appreciation? You know what I'm talking about. Every day, every hour, every minute, I'm uncomfortable being emotionally expressive and vulnerable. I struggle because I have a value system that places human connection as a high priority. I struggle because I have made a commitment to being all that I can be, and that means revealing myself to others. I was raised, like many men, to be manly and tough. As I've matured in my career and my relationships, I learned that being a man means being strong enough to show my feelings. Stoicism is a common trait of many women as well. We all have different degrees of ease around expressing our emotions. If you are committed to relationship sales, then you're going to have to take a long look at how you talk about your feelings with others. This practice of personal integrity may not be the most exciting story to tell, but it is the most effective way to reach out and touch someone else. Touching people, that's life, and that's sales. Reaching out. Built with integrity, backed by service. Do you remember that marketing slogan? Probably dating back to the 60s or 70s. The name of the company that used it, Motorola, escapes me at this moment, but integrity is front and center. Unfortunately, integrity is better shown than told. Integrity is who you are when nobody's looking. Bill Morrow is the founder and former CEO of Grand Communications, a U.S. telecommunications firm based in San Marcos, Texas. The company was established in 1999 when it was the recipient of the largest round of venture capital funding in Texas at the time. One does not attract investors like that without having a stellar reputation of integrity, among other things. Who is Bill Morrow when nobody's looking? Our story takes us to an H-E-B, a privately owned grocery store chain in Texas that is now the 8th largest in the country, parking lot in San Marcos, a burb a few miles south of Austin. But Bill finishes loading up his SUV with a heaping shopping cart of groceries. He's parked in the far parking lot perimeter and is now seen walking his empty cart back to one of the repositories near the entrance of the store, of course. Who sees him? One of the ladies from his back office is waiting to see what Bill does from her car in the same lot. Sue was impressed with a busy CEO type like Bill Morrow that he took the time to walk his empty grocery cart back to the rack instead of leaving it stranded in a busy parking lot, only to roll into a car or two. Later in the week, she strolled by his office just to tell him how impressed she was with his gesture. Bill is the same person, even when nobody is looking. Or so he thought. The next step. If you would like to receive great referrals from your clients, you may have to be the kind of person to whom they would want to refer their colleagues and friends. Earlier in my writing, I shared what I call the 4 laws of referability. Read through these and check off those that apply to you. Those that don't apply to you are a red flag that you may not be the kind of person to your client that you want or your client to be to you. Do you selflessly promote your client's business? Are you providing quality referrals to your client's business on a regular basis? If so, how many in a month? Do you carry your client's literature and/or business cards and hand them out when applicable? Do you work to keep your clients informed of news you hear about new developments or changes in their industry? Are you a client of your client? There is no better way to prove the depth of your relationship than by participating in a quid pro quo exchange. Do you routinely finish what you start? When you say that you are going to do something, do you do it? Are you consistently on time? Do you show consideration and respect by always saying please and thank you? When you maintain an attitude of service and servitude, You are being the kind of person you are asking your client to be when they send you referrals. This is integrity. Building blocks of successful sales. If you have listened, responded, and basically created and maintained a relationship with someone, then in order for you to remain consistent to your values, keep this idea in mind. Serve first, sell second. People buy things from friends more than they do from sales professionals. There's no need to sweat a sale or be pushy. Just be yourself and remember to serve first and sell second. BNI International states that givers gain. This maintains a relationship integrity on every level. I'm fond of sharing a Zig Ziglarism that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. As interesting as it is to learn how the ancient Egyptians made ceramic tiles before they came to Italy, that information is not going to build rapport with me. On the other hand, if you were to ask me about the origin of my passion for sports or how I got into sales training, I might get the impression that you care. I will remember your curiosity. When you do speak, speak from your heart. Human beings respond to strongly held convictions. I bought a giant chocolate bar the other day from a young man who knocked on my door. I don't need to eat a chocolate bar the size of a toaster, but I was convinced that I should buy the bar because of the young man's own conviction that it was for a just and good cause. He didn't know squat about chocolate, but hey, he felt strongly that selling this bar to me was an important, worthwhile, and beneficial way to invest his time. I responded positively to his deep convictions. Your integrity starts with how kind and honest you are with yourself. It expands outward to the tools and behaviors that you use to create sales. Speak from your heart, and you will get an answer every time.